You back with your girls, Meesa and Meah from You Already Know. It's M&M Live Radio, and it's the moment you all have been waiting for.
That's right, Meesa. His music career has pushed boundaries and has challenged the status quo in Christian music, and he is unashamed about it. After experiencing his past albums, when you think, how can he do this again? Listen, he does it all over again and again with every project to come. His new album and first Spanish language project, Noche Juvenil, is out right now, and we're about to talk to the man behind the music right here, right now. We want to welcome Reach Records recording artist GAWVI back to the show. GAWVI, how you feeling?
What's up? I'm chilling.
Listen, yo, we see you in the mix. I know you're in the zone right now, but listen, we're so happy to have you back on the show. It's always great having you here on M&M Live Radio.
It's a pleasure always talking with you guys.
Man, absolutely. It's a family reunion. No. So we realized that it's literally been a year.
Yes.
Right? It's been a year since we had you on the show and we talked about your album, Heathen. And now we're talking about some crazy things, because back then we talked about the crazy pandemic because, that's where everything was just kind of like shaking up. The chaos was happening in the world. Right. But with it being a year later now, how has it been adjusting to the new normal, such as an artist and a creative overall?
It's different, but one thing I could definitely say on my side personally is like God has been so consistent. So like, thank God he's provided, because one way that we always, as artists, we make money is our shows. There's been no shows, but somehow there's just been different avenues that God has been able to open up doors, and I haven't been stressing too much, which has been great. And I've been able to create a new album during the pandemic. So, God's been good.
That's good, man.
Listen, that's a great thing, because the one thing I enjoy seeing is being able to see, all the artists and all creatives be able to be so creative during this time. You're like, everyone's kind of like, not really sure what to do. However, everyone's being so innovative with how they're able to get art put out. And I think that you are definitely one of those artists who have been able to pivot throughout this time. But listen, GAWVI, I got to be honest with you, yo. I was looking forward to hearing this album. One of my favorite songs by you is Dulce. So I was really excited to hear, you create a full-length project in Spanish. So talk a little bit about what inspired the title of the project.
Yeah, so this is definitely a passion project that I've always wanted to do since I was a little kid. I used to love reggaeton music too. So definitely making this album, just connecting with my roots, being a Latino as well, has been therapeutic, and then also just fun, like very funny fun, because there's a lot of cool nostalgia that you get to do when you look back at how you were raised in a Hispanic church. That's where my dad used to be a pastor, and there's just a lot of cool nostalgia making this album.
Yeah.
So one thing that I really love about Noche Juvenil, that title, is that it's in English, it's youth night, but for Hispanics, it was always a big event that they would put on. All these churches would get together, and it would be something really cool for Hispanic kids that we would love. Most of the time, though, it wasn't cool. It was kind of
corny.
It was kind of corny, but one thing I've been able to say in like interviews is I don't want to make it seem like we didn't experience God. We definitely experienced God, and a lot of moments of life-changing moments, me personally too. But me and my friends, whenever we talk about Noche Juvenil night, it's like just laughing like, man, can you believe that would happen? And then the, announcements, the way it would be done in the worship, there's just a lot of funny things. I don't know. I got to laugh at it.
Oh, man.
Noche Juvenil, we're like, we want to make the night that we always wanted, the night that we would have pictured it to be like something cool, and I wanted to create that in the album. So in the album, you see like a tug of war in the intro. There's like that old school style of a singer that we would hear. Then it goes into like, nah, we don't sound like this. And then in the middle of the project, there's a pastor that's yelling, but in Spanish, he's like, we don't want you to paint your hair, and we don't want no earrings. Stop wearing ripped jeans. And if you didn't grow up in Latin churches, to this day, even in the countries, a majority, not all, but a majority is still very much in a very strict religious kind of aspect of, women can't wear makeup. Women have to wear long dresses to cover everything. So, you know, you hear that tug of war in the album, but I do it in a light way where it's comical.
And I love that I love that you decided to name it in English. It's Youth Night, because I kind of felt like a first time visitor, you know. You know, like you kind of like walk us through it, you know, even though it's completely in Spanish, but it's still an experience for a first time listener. Now let's talk about your creative process really quick. I know throughout your creative process for the album, you know, you were discovering your roots and diving deeper into your Latin culture, but what were some of the things that you discovered that were instrumental in helping create the album as a whole?
Sonically, or just as a whole? Like
as a whole, yeah. Like take us there, yeah.
I got to like talk to my parents a lot more throughout this process, like just reminiscing on times and be like, Ma, Pa, why did we do this? You know, when I was growing up, hip hop music was of the devil. I couldn't bring anything. I remember bringing a Dr. Dre album, sneaking it into my house. And my mom didn't even listen to it. She just looked at the cover. It was weed on it. And she was like, let's play this. Play it for me. I was like, nah, because I knew that intro is like really bad. It's cussing straight up. I was like, go ahead, play the first track. And I played it and it was the same. And then she broke it in front of my face. She was like, never bring this kind of music to my house. So I grew up like in a really strict environment when it came to that. But then as I got older, like let's say midway through high school, my parents started changing certain things of their views. Not that they accept that in their house, but they wanted to be more open in communication with me and my sister. I have an older sister. And that kind of started some of the conversations. I'll be like, why did you think hip hop was of the devil? You know, journey through that. And there were some great conversations that we had of like Christian culture shaping your mind, and then being kind of detached from biblical worldview, westernized Christianity view, so many things that we just got to talk about that was really helpful for me in this process. I think this album was way more therapeutic than a lot of albums that I've done. And it sounds like a fun album. Yeah. But it actually was great for me behind the scenes.
Oh, wow.
Listen, I love that. I love that you were able to, reading in the press kit, seeing how you had to, you know, dive deep and rediscover and be nostalgic and things like that. I was really curious to what that looked like for you. And now after hearing you talk, I can only imagine how, you know, I guess maybe you now being older and you thinking you understanding reasons like that, but then even able to translate it into the music, I think is beautiful, you know, as well. So therefore, you know, other people can able to relate to what your experiences were growing up. But listen, guys, your girls M&M are hanging out with Reach Records recording artist GAWVI, and we're talking all about his new album, Noche Juvenil. Now listen, I want to talk about this cover art because when I first saw it, it looked so intentional. Yeah. And I was like, I'm really curious to what the inspiration behind it, and then finding out that you were the one that actually, like, you know, created it and, you know, really drove the inspiration behind it. Like, you know, you see the elders in the side with the arms crossed, and you see these kids on the side having all this fun. So I'm curious, what was the inspiration behind the cover art for the album?
Yeah, so during quarantine, I bought me an iPad. And when I was a kid, I used to love just doodling and just drawing whatever I see or making up stuff. And through the album process of nostalgia and all of that, I'm like, let me go back to being a kid and just drawing. And I would draw a lot. And I was like, yo, you know what would be crazy if I actually did my album cover of me just drawing it. Now, at first it started off as a joke, because I'm not Picasso. I'm not no Mozart, you know, I can't draw something artistically great. And while I was drawing and just doodling, I just felt like, man, this project is more for me. I wasn't thinking about people. I know it's going to impact people, right? I'm thinking about the impact, but it really was a passion project that I wanted to do. Especially, you know, it's a Spanish album, so it's out of my catalog of 3 albums in English. So definitely you can see that it's just something I was really passionate about. So I'm drawing, and as I'm thinking about the album, it's exactly what I felt when I was in like youth nights. Sometimes there was a lot of cultural restraints of Christianity or elders that wanted us to be a certain way when we just wanted to fly and just be happy and enjoy things, not be stuck to a bubble. And that's why you have a cartoon version of me just pulling the microphone as a little kid from the pastor. But this pastor he looks angry. Not that all pastors are this, but this pastor is angry and has the whole Bible as his like body. And it seems like a bunch of rules, like this is how it's supposed to be type of thing. And I guess that's what happened with the cover. That's what I created. That's what I visually saw.
You know what's so interesting, GAWVI, is that looking at the cover, I was like, I wonder if this kid stashing the mic is GAWVI. Then I looked down and I saw the Fear of God shoes on. I'm like, yep, that is GAWVI. That's GAWVI. So I'm glad to know that my analysis was accurate.
No, absolutely. Because I mean, even when you mentioned it, I was kind of like, maybe you're right. So like, kudos to you.
Get me a deal. Hit up Jerry Lorenzo for me. You know what I'm saying?
No, seriously. Because I mean, like, honestly, like you may have a hidden talent of like, you know, designing shoes. You never know. But listen, you created a lot of different albums sonically in the past years and over the years. You know, just albums that we just love to just listen to. But how important was it for you to have a Spanish speaking album at this moment, specifically in your career?
Yeah, I felt like it was the right time. I think with 3 albums as the artist GAWVI, I think I was able to plant my ground and foundation of who I am to not confuse people. Like say if I did an English album, then a Spanish album right after, I think I would be confusing for the people. All right, is he a Latin artist? Is he an English artist? What is he doing? Is he a hip hop artist? A lot of times my albums end up being like that. It's like, is he EDM? Is he hip hop? But I definitely didn't want to confuse on the Hispanic side. And, you know, 3 albums in, I was like, you know what? I think now's the time, especially after Heathen. Heathen for me was like I don't have to explain anymore. This is just who I am. I'm going to make the music that I want to do. And I'm not going to be in a bubble no more. I'm not going to be in a box. I know my identity. And now I'm able to do Noche Juvenil.
I think that's so perfect because one thing I've always used to be in the past is always be like, you know, like with certain artists and things like that, wonder why they would switch up sounds and so much and things like that. But one thing I'm realizing that, like, you know, artists just have to create, like, you know, sometimes you get inspired in different times and different things like that. So just to let them have that creative freedom is a big thing for them. Like, you know, for you guys to be able to get out. And honestly, I've learned to even embrace that as well. But I love everything that this album is and that what it embodies and honestly what you've done with it. And GAWVI, now you've posted on social media saying that you got a deluxe edition of the album on the way. So clearly I can tell that you already don't sleep. And I can already imagine how many songs you have in the vault right now. But what made you want to expand the album and what can we expect when we hear the deluxe version?
Yeah, that's why I'm at the studio right now. I'm trying to finish it for you guys. There was a bunch of songs that didn't make the album. That I was like, yo, this would be fire to be on the album. And then also, I've never done a deluxe. And I'm like, you know what, it would be cool to give the people more, especially seeing the way people have been responding to this album. We've been doing like interviews in Argentina, Colombia,
dope, yo,
Costa Rica, Guatemala, everywhere. And it's just been crazy, just the response of different countries. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a whole different lane and a whole different market. I want to keep going. And of course, I'm going to get back to English music, which will come out maybe this fall and summertime.
Oh, but, wink, wink.
Yeah, right now I'm just in my Noche Juvenil season. It's only a week old. So, you know, I'm here. I'm trying to drop some more.
Man, you are spanning across different cultures, different countries, you know, and even generations, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like that's so dope for you to even have, you know, have the obedience right now to like listen to God, listen to your own instinct and just say that now is the time. I've been wanting to do this for some time. Now is the time. You are so in your bag and we could not be more proud, GAWVI. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this week's show. But before you go, give everyone your social media site so that they can stay connected with you.
Yeah. It's just at GAWVI, GAWVI. You can find me on anywhere, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I mostly go on Instagram, though. I'm hardly on my Facebook or Twitter.
Listen, guys, make sure you're following GAWVI on all social media. And listen, man, go get this new album, man. You won't regret it. Noche Juvenil is the title, and it's sold everywhere digitally.
Absolutely. Now, thanks again for hanging out with us on this week's show. But please know that you've always got our support here on M&M Live Radio. We love you, bro.
Thank you. Love you guys, too.
Absolutely. Now, to all of our listeners out there, if you're still with us, make sure you keep it where you got it, because we have some new GAWVI right here, right now.
That's right, man. Here's Sin Miedo by GAWVI from his new album, Noche Juvenil. Listen, man, I know we say this at the end of every interview, but turn this one all the way up, man. And the girls will be right back. You're listening to, you already know.
It's M&M Live Radio.